Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and welcome to the Adventures of Hobocop, aka Disco Elysium. We are in a spooky bookshop with some spooky curtains doing spooky stuff. So let's find out what's going on. Now, do we have the opportunity to remove these things if we don't want them anymore? Ah, so these impart negative effects upon us whilst we're learning them. They impart negative effects while we're learning them, but then they provide a positive afterwards. Cool. So, what's behind these curtains? Have you got anything to say about it, buddy? Let's go on in. Let's have a look. What is in here? Ghostly silhouettes of hairdryers. A vaguely androgynous portrait of a man. Into it. Merely looking at that unmanly haircut threatens your masculinity. No sane person would ever put that on their head. Put their head in such a machine. A warded door, a heavy door with a missing handle, stands before you, covered in dozens, if not hundreds, of Seminese trinkets and charms. It appears to be locked. Maybe I should break it down. Not before I strategize. That's right, take in your surroundings. You need to have a proper ground and a proper posture if you want to succeed. Check your posture. Steady breathing, solid core, you've got this. With one shoulder forward, you're getting ready to smash into the door like a battering ram. Check your surroundings. The room is dimly lit and littered with old barbershop rubbish, but the path to the door is clear. What about the door? It's made of a solid block of wood, but it has stood there for ages. The hinges are old and coated with a carmine layer of rust. It should be doable. We cannot knock that door down. Knock on the door. No one is there. I don't want to injure myself by trying it, and a 58% is not good enough to manage that. Let's see if she's got anything to say about it now.
I wasn't kidding when I said we're parapsychologically dumb. You clearly don't care about the consequences. What gives you the right?
I detected psychic emanations from within and was compelled to investigate. Don't expect my help from now on. The back door is locked and I threw away the key. I won't trifle with such forces. She fiddles with her pendant. Do look at the books though. Maybe not. Oh, the daughter came in. Should we see if we can talk to her again? I think we should. Just to add some silence and lack of interest to the video, let's have a couple of loading screens.
I'm sorry, sir. I can't talk right now. I'm very busy with my homework. I have so much homework now.
You just can't win. What are you doing now? Math. She looks into her notebook with trepidation. It's really difficult. Like, really. They say you need to get it. You need it to get rich. Better than standing outside in the cold, I guess. Suddenly, she smiles and perks up, remembering something. Oh, I found something while you were away. What is it? Dick Mullen's hat. I thought this would fit you. She gives you a hat. Almost exactly like the one Dick Mullen wears on the covers. Like a thanks for helping me. Not me, the city I mean. Like a detective does. Where did you get it? Just what Dick Mullen would ask. She lowers her voice. I got it from behind the curtains. I'm not really supposed to go there. A detective hat? Yes, like the one Dick Mullen wears all the time. She grins. You'll look way more serious with that. Suddenly she looks back at the infernal scribblings under her nose. Right, I have to get back to my homework now before Mum notices. This is hard. Let's pop that hat on our fucking boat race. Look at that. We're ready to roll. We're still wearing a pair of... Are these imparting any negatives upon us? No, they increase our interfacing though. What's decreasing our savoir faire? Something is. Our sexy snakeskin shoes. There's a drunk man vomiting over here, I believe. Let's have a look through this. Coin-operated viewer has been banged up, inoperable. The ad reads, broken window. Tibbs has windows. If you had a bag in your hand, perhaps you could collect these bottles and sell them. Do we have a bag? I felt like we had a bag. No, we don't. Oh, there's a bag there. The things I've seen and said. I can't do the... Nothing I can't do. I'm the job for every man. We have a yellow plastic bag. I'll pop that in there in the old hand. See if there's anything we can pinch out of here. A splatter of bullet holes lines the walls. The sight of bullet holes stirs something in you, making you forget the lieutenant's surname. Kim, look, bullet holes. Where? He looks around. Points to the chips in the walls. Those are old. You mean like from the revolution? Yeah, the one that happened half a century ago. Those bullets were fired during the revolution and do not warrant an investigation by officers of civil law. What can you tell me about this revolution? Not much. I don't have a fresh perspective on it. Should we go? Alright, mate. Bobo. Let's raid this bin up here. Some rubbish. I like rubbish. Where was the rubbish collection? Was that in the bookshop? The apartments. Capeside Apartments. Ooh, what's up here? More rubbish. A lonely cormorant surveys the sea, indifferent to your approach. I am playing an RPG game where I'm collecting rubbish. Things have escalated somewhat. The belly of this boat shines like it was recently painted. Can we get behind here and have a little sneak about? Oh. Can we talk to this lad round here now?
Are you trying to sneak up on me? Come to slit my throat in my sleep? Pigs come to take me out? Trying to snuff me out?
Why would you even say that? Then why are you sneaking up on me like that? It's not a good idea to scare me, pig. Not a good idea at all. Shut up, dickhead. We still haven't been through here, which I know you can go through because that was one of the episodes we ended up really deleting. just to be clear. Orange bum hat. Another splattering of bullet holes on this wall. The spread pattern of those bullet holes makes your chest ache. Your breath grows heavier. Examine closer. You peer into the faded marks in the stone. They peer back like an endless row of tiny black holes. Sweat starts trickling down your brow. Your chest feels tight. looking at them. Your chest feels tight looking at them. It's closing in, caving in, even tighter. Your breathing grows even heavier. You okay there? Kitsurugi's sudden voice cuts like a blade, springing out of you. Ooh. You okay there? Kitsurugi's sudden voice cuts like a blade, bringing you out of the stupor. Yeah, I'm fine. You were looking pale for a second. What are you looking at? These bullet holes look like the ones we saw before. Bullet holes generally look the same, so probably. But you are right. More old bullet holes from the revolution. How many people got shot during that revolution? Plenty. What's these? What is these? Chairs and tables eaten by rain and rot. Can we get through here? No, is the answer to that question, David? A garden hose. This won't be of any use until the snow melts. Okay, that's locked. So this area is of no good to us whatsoever at the moment. Why am I looking at this wall? This is a wall on the side of an apartment building. There's currently a lot of walking around doing very little. So hopefully we can loot up enough that we can pay for our damages that we've caused. But that would be a lot of rubbish. And it would be really helpful if Mr. Kitsurugi got out of the bloody way. Who is this fucking gentleman over here? Oh, it's a lady. A striking woman leans against the cabin top of her sailing boat, smiling as you approach. Her green raincoat glistens with droplets. A silk scarf is tied around her throat.
Good afternoon, officers. I'm Joyce.
She extends her hand in greeting.
Joyce Elysium. I represent the board of Wild Pines, the owners of the harbour. You gentlemen must be from the RCM.
What does the L stand for?
Leighton, my maiden name.
RCM, what is that? I'm a little foggy here.
I meant you. The Revachol Citizens Militia. The police.
What gave us away?
Nothing, honestly. I've said it to every drunk in town, and you're the first one who's responded.
What is implied here? That you're a drunk? I'm not a drunk, I'm a police officer.
Of course you're not. It was only a joke.
Shake her hand.
I'm glad to see you here.
Her grip is tight and cold. She seems relieved.
I was dispatched to handle a strike, not a lynching. Anything I can do to assist the RCM in this matter, I will, gladly.
That is good to hear, madame.
He opens his
colleague
notebook.
will take the lead on this interview. I should let you know that he is recovering from an unusual medical episode. Very unusual. But I can assure you of his ultimate competency.
There's a trace of irony in his voice. Mischief even. The lieutenant is hatching some scheme.
How interesting. I wish you a swift recovery. In the meanwhile, you have my full cooperation and the full cooperation of the Wild Pines group.
It's hard to get a read on her precise disposition, but she appears helpful. You're on a boat. Why, yes I am. She looks at the deck under her feet. Green and white sails flutter overhead. Not a lot of people on boats, are there? Of course there are. She looks around. We're on an archipelago. How else are you supposed to get around? Wait, we're on an archipelago? Look around. Yes, we are. She raises her brow. We are on Lakalu. I thought we were in Revachol. We are. But the city of Revachol is on the isle of Lakalu. Still, I haven't seen anyone else sail about a boat around here. Oh, I pressed the wrong button. I haven't seen anyone else sail a boat around here. I haven't seen anyone else drive a souped-up Capri Kanema motor carriage either. Actually, the lieutenant becomes defensive. That motor carriage has been specially issued to serve as a patrol and pursuit vehicle. It's for crossing long distances in the Greater Retrograde Industrial Harbour. It's not a toy. Neither is this. The woman pats the cabin hardtop. A toy, I mean. It's a machine for crossing long distances in the Bay of Retrograde between the city and the islands. She's having a good time arguing against the law. Too good, perhaps. Does she have a name? The boat? No. It is called Cordelay 19, because that's the type of sloop it is. The word it feels strange. Such a beautiful boat deserves a proper name. A breeze ripples through the sails and tugs at your hair. Below, the sleek fish-like shape of the hull parts the water. Beneath that, a resounding darkness. You're reminded of something. Or someone. The boat really needs a name. Okay, how about Cordelay 19? Why? She taps on the side of the boat and makes a hollow sound. Because it was manufactured in Retrograde East by a company called Cordelay, and its hull is 19 paces long. How about Sleek Fish? What? Because it's sleek and fish-like. A smirk passes her face. I think I'll stick with the factory name, but thank you. What kind of boat is it? It's a pleasure craft, a 19-pacer. It also happens to be rated for Category 1 racing, though these days I mainly use it for business. How do you like it? My sloop? I like it a lot. It's the eel's hips, baby. I'm enjoying this part of the interview. It has so little to do with the murder we're investigating. I really do, the lieutenant thinks. Is she thrown off yet? He's looking at the woman, assessing her. I think I have a handle on the boat thing. Tell me about Wild Pines. What do you do? What we do, I'm afraid I don't... What we do, I'm afraid I don't speak for Wild Pines as a whole. It's a great undertaking. So what do they do? The Pines' core competency is logistics. Container shipping, freight, that sort of thing. She points to the small dots on the horizon. See those airships blinking? Those are the shipping side of things. Then to the east, toward the harbour, and that is the terminal. Another subdivision deals with energy, oil and gas exploration, offshore platforms. How much money does Wild Pines have? I'm not a library to discuss the company balance sheet, but I can tell you that last year the company booked more than 20 billion real in revenue. A billion? What exactly is a billion? It's a number, officer. A big one. What's it made of? It's made of 1,000 millions. A million is made of 1,000 thousands. The money I owe is so much less than that. Yes, past a certain point, numbers begin to seem imaginary. But they are quite real for the 72,000 employees who depend on Wild Pines for their paychecks. A conglomerate the size of Wild Pines is like a shark. If it stops moving and growing, it will die. Then what becomes of those 72,000 families? It's a tremendous responsibility. Where does Wild Pines get all those billions? They started as an exploration and cargo fleet, conducting trade between the Samaran and Insulidian Isolas 250 years ago, when Pines' ship explored the South Seminoles and charted Lo Menthang on behalf of the suzerain. Good, they're throwing all these words. Centuries of care, deliberation and madness have gone into this endeavour. Vessels pass through the great unrest to re-emerge with apricots in tow. The logic of the system is totalising. It's taken everything from its employees to build it. What can you tell me about this lynching? Quite a few things, I'm afraid. She falls silent for a moment, contemplating something. Interview the Wild Pines rep. The information I'm to share with you includes sensitive trade secrets. For the sake of my employer, I have to ask for your names and badge numbers. Of course, ma'am. We should have introduced ourselves. The lieutenant hands her a piece of blue plastic. I'm Lieutenant Kitsurugi from Precinct 57. And this is my colleague from Precinct 51, I'm afraid he doesn't have his badge at the moment. I hope mine will suffice. How curious. She returns the lieutenant's badge and turns to you. Why is that, detective? Awkwardness washes over the conversation. The woman doesn't like this turn of events. Remember when my partner told you I'd recently suffered from an unusual medical episode? My lost badge is related to that. I see. She looks increasingly worried. So you are saying you lost your badge during the course of this episode? I could have eaten it for all I know. I don't remember anything. This world, this city, nothing. I'm going to say yes. I can't hear you, darling. Speak up, please. I could have eaten it for all I know. Oh dear. She sighs with compassion. Sadness even. I suppose this does explain some of the more curious turns in our conversation. As I said, ma'am, the lieutenant interjects. His technique may be very unconventional, but he is an officer of the RCM. Of course, I sympathise, but I'm afraid I simply can't share anything more until I've seen that badge. Hang on. She's a professional negotiator. She should be able to open up some sort of mutually beneficial agreement. What kind of arrangement would it be? I mean, favours for favours, a dirty alliance of some sort. How do I negotiate my way out of this? Ooh. Suggestion 4. I'm a little concerned that we won't make that. I'll find it somehow. Let's talk about something else until I do. Of course, she grabs the mainstay and leans towards you. But before we do, officers, let me be perfectly clear. The situation is extremely volatile. The sooner we speak about this lynching business, the better for all of us. What can you tell me about the strike? Everything, she smiles. Right up to, but not including trade secrets. What is your role in this precisely? I believe the official title is Senior Labour Negotiator. In practice, I'm a grocery clerk. I relay the union's demands to Wild Pines and return with Wild Pines' counteroffer. And how are the talks going? They're not. That's the problem. The union stopped all negotiations a week ago, after that awful lynching took place. Now they won't even let me into the harbour. There's 2.2 million racist behemoth. Oh. There's a 2 metre 2 racist behemoth blocking the gates. Tell us more about this behemoth. What can I say? The union employs a giant covered in tattoos, she pauses. A racist giant. I guess that's part of their big tent organisation now. How were the talks going before the lynching? Let's say I was not making the kind of progress I'd hoped for when I first arrived. And when did you first arrive? I arrived 3 weeks ago, she thinks. Yes, in the middle of February. The bay was still partially frozen. I prefer to do these things on site, like the RCM. He looks at his notes. But the strike began in December. I wasn't the original negotiator here. I took over after Mr. Galmont hit a wall with Mr. Clare, the union boss. Mr. Clare refused to speak with Galmont, despite concessions he'd granted the union in prior negotiations. This isn't the first time the union has gone on strike? Heavens no! There have been 2 prior strikes. Both times the union won significant concessions, including overtime pay and a medical plan. This time the demands are more, I guess you could say, aggressive. What happened to Galmont? Mr. Clare told him to... How did she put it? How did he put it? She pauses to compose herself. Fuck off, midget. Galmont is short of stature, you see. Not cool. Keep in mind, this is a negotiator Mr. Clare has worked with before, and who was more than fair with him in the union. Sounds like usual aggressive posturing. The scabs at the gate. No, I'm not going to ask that. Tell me about this union boss. Everard Clare is a man of the utmost integrity. If you can say one thing about him, it's that he always puts the interests of his workers first. Really? Of course not. Everard is fantastically corrupt. Imagine he has thick, viscous goo where you and I have blood. Is he that bad? He is the most corrupt individual I've ever seen, and I deal with men like him for a living. If there is anyone more venal, more irredeemably nepotistic, then it's his twin brother, Edgar. Wait, there are 2 of him? Yes, Edgar looks exactly like his brother, except for that lazy eye. He also talks exactly like Edvert does. And when one's term as foreman is over, the other one takes over. It's how they circumvent the term limits, you see, with a funny little switcheroo. While in office, they've embezzled God knows how much of their workers' dues. What about the union itself outside the Brothers Clare? The Debardiers Union was once a perfectly normal institution. 20 years ago, anyway. It must not have been easy to establish under the Emergency Act, but they did it. I can respect that. She adjusts her hair. Organised labour at its best, as they say. Then something happened in the local chapter elections. The Brothers Clare came and transformed it into a... How do you say... She hesitates, looking for the right expression. A mob? The lieutenant says succinctly. The Debardiers is a crime syndicate. Sad as it may be, we're forced to cooperate with them. Refreshingly honest, officer, she nods. The company has tried appeasing in the past, but I'm afraid our concessions have only emboldened Everett and his brother. She turns to you. And your opinion, detective, if I may ask? I'm a curious and talkative person, you see, she explains. Would you say the Debardiers Union is... basically a socialist mob? Thank you for being candid, she nods. Sadly, Wild Pines have cooperated with what amounts to a crime syndicate for 2 decades. However much you feed the wolf always hungers. You said something happened in the elections. I'm glad you asked. There was a woman, the previous foreman of the union. She disappeared. Disappeared? Yes, on the last day of the local chapter elections, her daughter phoned in and said she wasn't running anymore or coming to work. Ever. Eerie. Downright haunting, if you ask me. The Wild Pines suspected foul play, but what could they do? It was a union matter. The point of the presentation is, these kinds of things happen around Claire's. Watch out when you're dealing with him. Thank you for your concern, ma'am. We'll be fine. What are their demands? There are leaflets everywhere and banners. What did they say again? Oh yes. Every worker a member of the board. Seems like they have no idea about business. In its defence, another said, demand democracy. Pretty tame stuff compared to every worker a member of the board. What does that even mean? It's quite simple. Every time the Wild Pines group makes a decision about what? About anything really, it needs the signature of each of the 2,200 workers in its Martinez terminal. Just so you understand, this is but one of 22 terminals owned by Wild Pines. Essentially, not only are the kings of the company, not only are they kings of the company, they are also kings of the 72,000 employees of the Wild Pines group. The king is dead. Long live the workers. They may well be. That may well be. It's not up to me to decide who is king, but as negotiations go, it's not a swell start. What's he going to do? I'm not sure. Naturally, I assume that this was just their opening position, a hard-nosed tactic with a side of mockery, but there's been no follow-up, just the same nonsensical slogan repeated over and over again. And now people are getting lynched, I hear. Behind the whirling rags, a disastrous situation if ever there was one. Excuse me, the lieutenant looks up from his notes. From whom did you hear about this lynching? Her reply comes quick. I first heard about it at the boyar at the gates, from the boyar at the gates, the one whose very name advertises aversion to work. I think he said it was call me manana? This checks out. That's all I need. Let's change the topic. You seem smart. I need someone to give me the lowdown on this reality we're in. This reality? She pulls her hood closer around her neck. The aim is to gain a deeper understanding. By learning about the world, I hope to learn more about myself. A sort of spiritual quest. Something of ancient Ilmaran origin. There's more than a trace of irony in her voice. Yeah. A spirit quest sounds like the thing I'm on. You will find him a big fan of the ancient ways. It's part of his condition. Nothing wrong with ancient ways, she says. Our modern ones aren't necessarily better. Ask away, officer. I'll help however I can. Where are we? We're in Martinez, baby. And what is Martinez? Martinez is a district of Reverchol. She looks around, her green road coat flapping in the wind. A very small district tucked away near the industrial harbour, north of the 881 and Jamrock. You would be excused for not knowing about it. Unimportant, they say. Forgotten even. Shelled to smithereens during the revolution. She shrugs. It has its charms. Just not this time of year. Okay, that's Martinez. What's Reverchol? Reverchol is what you call a city. What kind of city? The great kind. As if it's self-explanatory, beyond patriotism. A fact. What makes Reverchol great? History, detective. They built this city to resolve history. Our part of it. Our part in it, at least. Our centuries. And why will it resolve history? They say it's where the terrible questions of our time will be answered. The tensions are highest, the fault lines deepest. By that I mean conflicts, ideological conflicts, the stuff of men. Why here? We are standing on a fertile, self-sufficient island, able to sustain up to 200 million people in the middle of the Indic Ocean. The world's connective tissue, she smiles. It's where the money is. So we're in an unimportant part of an important place. I think it's fair to say Martinez is about, she points across the water where the skyscrapers were, 22 kilometers from the center of the world. That soldering iron is the bank of the world building. The bottom floors are Intercom, Coalition Government, Insulinden Mission Command. Look to the sea. Silence. She lowers her hand. The water, the light. It's as though you're seeing it for the first time. There is no recognition. Only the immensity of the sea and the cold radiating from it. Observe the large body of water swelling cold. Ooh. Ooh. She observes your eyes scanning the horizon. Yeah, derealization is going to be really unpleasant. Reverchol Special Administrative Region Lakalu, the Insulindian Ocean, Coalition Government, Interlindian Mission Command. Name after name, and none of them is familiar. They all seem real, but something is wrong. You feel like a kid looking at stickers on the fridge. You can almost see your hand reaching out for them, scratch at the corners, see if they peel loose. This feels like the most important of all the thoughts. Jamais vu. Derealization is like a complete loss of self. So hopefully us going with the derealization, maybe we can start to understand who we are again. I'm hoping it doesn't make us slip further into derealization, because that's going to be really messed up. She observes your eyes scanning the horizon, then breaks the silence slowly. This is one thought you need to complete. Where are you? Was there something else you wanted to know? I remember something about a lowdown. This has been informative, thank you, ma'am. I'm sure my memory-impaired partner has many more questions to ask, about even more fundamental aspects of reality. Might I suggest not asking them all right now? Ma'am, Monsieur will be here later too. And tomorrow, isn't that true, ma'am? Absolutely, my commitment here is long-term. You're right, I'll continue later. It's better not to eat all your candy at once. I'm hoping that then our derealization will fill in a lot of questions. We won't need to keep asking stupid questions. Ah, esprit de corps is too low. What is this? A bird? She tilts her head. A flightless bird of the polar regions? I mean, what is this place here? Ah, this is the pier of Rue de Saint-Ghislain, where the tenants have been kind enough to rent me a slot. And what is the Rue? A pre-revolutionary tenement. Old buildings are called tenements, you see. And after buildings, bâtiments. After les bâtiments nouveaux. But 33A and 33B are not nouveau. They're old. She looks up at the crumbling facade. This one used to be 8 to 10 stories tall. A real high-rise by the standards of the last century. Built to mirror the skyscrapers across the bay in the delta. That was before the war, of course. Who lived in them? Mostly the urban middle class, I believe. This was once primo real estate before the cannons lopped 4 or 5 stories off. Splat, splat. From a dilapidated balcony, a young girl in old clothes gives Joyce the evil eye, a red paintbrush held to her throat. Cindy the Skull. Wonderful. Point to Cindy. What is that? The girl in the old lady rags? Yes. Looks like a sullen and rebellious member of a teen infraculture. Infraculture? Yes. You and I belong to the supraculture. We're common, the herd. The music on the radio, the food in the chain restaurant, these are all too popular for the girl in the old lady rags. She prefers a fantasy world, an infraculture with its own dress code and vernacular. It is an illusion, I'm afraid. There is no refuge from the supraculture. Okay, now explain the same thing but to a child. Young people who dye their hair funny colours and wear old people's clothes are stupid, and their little rebellion is self-defeating. She pauses to take a long leisurely sip of her tea. Alright, what next? Right, we could increase our esprit de corps. I don't think that increasing conceptualization will do anything to benefit us, so I don't think we need to do that. I think we'll take our esprit de corps. That's a white check. We might be able to retry it if we fail it. 6 kilometers southwest in the Valley of Dogs, Junior Officer Chad Tilbrook takes an aim at a rabid black dog, licking its wounds in the grass. To his left, his partner, Emil Mullins, whispers, "You heard what happened to Tequila Sunset in Martinez?" "Yeah, he lost his mind," Tilbrook answers, finger on the trigger. "Don't worry, Emil." He pulls on it slowly. "He'll find it again. We always do." "What am I?" "You? You're an officer of the RCM," she says energetically. "This abbreviation, what does it stand for?" "It stands for Revachol Citizens Militia." "Good. And what's that?" "Nothing more nor less than the de facto law enforcement body of post-revolutionary Revachol detective." "Yes," the lieutenant steps in to make a gesture encompassing you both. "We are the Revachol Citizens Militia." "You said de facto." "Yeah, that means not de jure. The RCM acts in what is poetically called the twilight of international law, both at the behest of the coalition government and to its chagrin." "What do you mean?" "The RCM's responsibilities are defined by the Emergency, Wayfarer and Alignments Act, 3 pieces of legislation keeping the city in a, let's be honest, laissez-faire status to the benefit of foreign capital." Flazeda. "All 3 are good to know." The lieutenant looks up from his notes. "When we're out policing. So I'm basically a lackey of capital." "There's nothing basic about your role, detective. It's true that the RCM keeps everything the way our seemingly permanent provisional rulers like it." She leans in. "Yet on the other hand, I know these people. I deal with them daily. Let me tell you, dear, they are not fans of you." "Why?" "The post-revolutionary decade was a disaster for the coalition government. Revachol in the 20s was hell, especially on the west side of the river. Gang warfare, a botched privatization scheme, a nuclear pile meltdown. They called it the international zone because no nation wanted to claim responsibility. The RCM restored peace where the coalition failed. A true blue citizens' initiative," she smiles. "They will never forgive you." "That's somewhat of an exaggeration," the lieutenant interjects. "In reality, ours is a mutually beneficial agreement. Revacholians get to keep the peace in Revachol, and the coalition doesn't have to worry about it." He coughs. "Anyway, sorry to intrude. Please continue." "Yes, Lieutenant. Permit me to conclude with this. Who you are to me is the police, the only legitimate law enforcement authority in Revachol." "Thank you, ma'am." "And if those authorities drink so hard that they need help recalling the basic terms of reality, well, I am here to help." "That's impossible." "What are you?" "What I am not is a basic term of reality," she smiles. "Everyone wants to know about themselves. She will in time. That's all for now." "You seem rich. Can I have some money?" Is that what you want to say? Oh, you seem rich. Can I have some money? Is what you want to say. But isn't that easy, is it? Why not? Look at the lady. Have a gander. What nice fabrics. What lustrous hair. A well-kempt yet tasteful short bob of dark hair. Despite the first hints of grey, she's elected to keep it au naturel. Despite the first hints of grey, she's elected to keep it au naturel, shaped into a permanent wave, late 40s style. While dull orange pearls hang from her earlobes, red from cold. Her light green eyes scan you full of knowledge and worry. Wealth and all its possibilities. Yeah, and? Now look at you, you misery-clad simian, barely able to tie your own laces. Your armpits are lakes, a scythe of booze precedes you. Your hair sticks to your forehead and your underwear feels uncomfortable. You're poor. Poor as balls. You can't ask this person for money. You're too... ashamed? What is this feeling? I've never felt it before. Shame. You haven't really been in the presence of gentlefolk either, have you? What shame is there to be felt in front of these dock workers? Oh. What shame is there to be felt in front of these dock workers, cops and hotel clerks, but to belittle yourself in the eyes of O'Donnell? Oh God, the lieutenant is here too. Do not dishonour the force. As I was saying, her voice breaks the silence and suddenly you're back again. Nearby, a seagull pecks at a piece of garbage. If there's any way I may be of assistance, please don't hesitate to ask. Should I ask for money? Voila! You're doing it! Really put your back into it. Yell it from the top of your lungs. You seem rich. Can I have some money? Why? Yes, I am rich. How much money do you need? Hopefully not much. I couldn't bring all of it with me. She's surprisingly nonchalant about this. Could it be that she somehow knows more about your predicament than she's letting on? I need 130 real. That's a good sum. Not too small, not fantastically large. She reaches into her raincoat and pulls out a zip bag. In it you see paper notes arranged like black gills. She removes a few notes and hands them to you. The paper is cold and oily to the touch. Whoa! Whoa! Did you see how easy that was? Ask her for more. Nah, 'twould be dishonourable, and mine honour is my life. Can you eat honour? Are you an honourveur? Give me a break. So, she returns to her zip bag to her pocket. I hope I didn't just bribe you, officer. It may not technically be illegal under the Emergency Act, but still. I'm still getting my head around the whole money concept. You were just helping me out. You're right, ma'am. That donations are permitted under the Emergency Act, unseemingly as it may be, as long as they're properly logged with the precinct. Which she most certainly will do. She bows and then raises a single eyebrow in your direction. Now, how else can I help the RCM today, besides supplementing its salaries? That's all. Thanks very much. And that will be all today. Thank you very much for joining us. We are taking bribes. Not really taking bribes. Shadow on the water. Green plants under the calm surface. It's been a very wordy episode. A very wordy episode indeed. But that is the nature of this game. And it's for some people. It's not for others. For me, I'm enjoying it. And I hope that you are enjoying it too. If you're enjoying it, please, I invite you, feel free to tap on that like button, tap on that subscribe button, maybe jot a few words down in the comment section. And we can all share this experience together. And I hope that you will come back and enjoy the experience and share it with me on the next episode of Disco Elysium. I've been Arsenic Candy, you've been bloody marvellous, and I'll catch you again soon. Take care now. Ta-ta. Bye-bye.